In this week's GTA 5 O'Clock, big revelations as we analyse the top 5 GTA 5 conspiracy theories, talk next-gen and PC versions, in-game social media and GTA 5's cheat system, and we answer your questions. It's the only GTA 5 show that matters. It's this week's GTA 5 O'Clock. Hi, welcome to this week's GTA 5 O'Clock. I'm Tim Weaver. I'm here with Dan Dawkins. Hello, Dan.
Hello there.
Busy show this week. We're going to talk about the top 5 GTA 5 theories. But first, Dan, let's talk about some stuff that's cropped up this week, including brand new merchandise.
Yeah, slow news week for GTA 5, but Rockstar have confirmed some new merchandise for GTA 5, which include a giant GTA 5 poster, which is the same as the box art effectively, but without all the logos and all the other stuff. It's 22 by 28 inches, so it's a good size.
Yeah.
But it's £14, which you can convert that to dollars yourself, so it's quite expensive.
It's quite pricey, yeah,
for a poster. Now, I'd be perhaps more interested in, there's two other things. One is a Sheriff of Los Santos County trucker cap, which is attractive enough, possibly even for me to wear, Tim.
Yeah, you fancy that, Dan? You think that looked pretty good in South Wales?
Well, if I was ever to go back into the Wales wearing that hat, I wouldn't be entirely ashamed.
No.
Worth noting, in fact, we'll pick up on the hat again later. I'll quickly talk about the T-shirts. There's 2 Los Santos T-shirts, which are just basically plain T-shirts with the words Los Santos written them in that kind of like baller script that was used for the same T-shirts for GTA San Andreas. And in fact, I have got a near identical T-shirt for San Andreas that just says San Andreas.
Right. And
they've replicated it now and it just says Los Santos. So again, you know, quite attractive T-shirts. Now, going back to the hat, the reason I wanted to save this for last is because the hat is, you know, Sheriff of Los Santos County hat. The little logo in the middle is a character who looks like, Tim, a beaver?
I think that's a beaver, yeah. Well, it's certainly got a beaver's tail, hasn't it? And it's got a little, like, beavery face.
It's definitely not an elephant. We can establish that. So,
or a zebra.
Yeah, and so, I mean, obviously a beaver would make sense given the location and the sort of countryside areas. More than anything, it's a beaver. It's a bit of a sex joke. You know, Rockstar are constantly making little crass puns, visual puns throughout. That makes perfect sense. Now, where it ties in and gets slightly more interesting is that, Tim, somebody had got in touch with us.
Yeah, a Dutch listener who wants to be called Chicago, which is a good name. He said he spotted Bigfoot on the side of an LSPD squad car, bottom right of like a sort of 4-segment, design. Says you can't see it again in any other trailers apart from the first trailer. Now, this was spotted quite a long time ago by other people.
Yeah, I think we've probably talked about it in very old shows. It's definitely done the rounds on the internet, possibly up to 18 months ago. So it's not like a new thing, but it's worth noting that, you know, you can see on that crest of the Los Santos police cars, you can see like a Bigfoot figure.
Yeah.
So that's obviously, I think, you know, whether they decided to keep that in or not, we don't know. But it was definitely Rockstar nodding their hat to the Bigfoot conspiracy theories that surrounded Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But if you look in the top left corner of the crest, it's not exactly the same, but there is a little furry character who looks not unlike our friend the beaver.
Yeah.
So it could be that there's a spiritual link to that original crest. Nothing much more to say than that, but it's just a fun observation.
Okay, Dan, one other thing. GTA Online website. You reckon, this is your theory, that there's going to be a standalone website for them, and here's why.
Well, yeah, the big thing is that essentially they've named it GTA Online and not GTA 5 Online. It seems to be set up as its own individual thing. But something I noted a while ago is on the official rockstargames.com/v website, the bar of things on the site has slowly been filling up.
Yeah.
So it got to a stage where we had like pre-order news, screens, trailer 1, trailer 2, trailers, Michael Franklin, Trevor, and there was like one gap left. That gap has now been filled with gameplay video. Now, there's not an awful lot of space left to put more, you know, descriptions or videos on that bar.
Unless they squeeze down the font, I guess.
They could squeeze the font, put another line in. I'm aware this is, you know, it sounds like a bit like I'm stretching, but, you know, could it be that they filled up this current ratio and when we get GTA Online, we're getting GTA Online its own portal? I don't know. Again, it's an observation. Let us know what you think.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's talk about these theories then, Dan. We were talking in prep for the show about a series of theories that we floated on the show in the past that and actually that other people have broached online in the comments when they got in touch via Twitter, that kind of thing, and on forums. So we thought we'd run through the top 5 GTA 5 theories, starting down with one that we threw out there into the wild on a show a long time ago.
Yeah, and again, just to say up front now, if you're sensitive about spoilers, we aren't sure these things are true, but if they are, spoiler alert, because they could be spoilers. Number 1 is the Trevor and Michael brothers theory.
Okay, so the basic idea here, Dan, is that, as previously stated, Trevor and Michael are actually brothers and possibly went into the witness protection program together.
Yeah, now this isn't some madness we've cooked up, there is evidence. Where it all stems from is 18 months to 2 years ago, a Hollywood casting call did the rounds called the Rush casting call. And in fact, there was the internet sleuth who works for Kotaku, Superannuation, dug up other research at the same time. They did a separate casting call for 2 different characters who were Albert and Simon De Silva. Now, we didn't have full details on who Albert and Simon De Silva were, but they were talked about through other characters in the main Rush casting call, chiefly through a character called, I think, Kevin De Silva.
Kevin De Silva, yeah.
Now, Kevin De Silva is described as, he's 18 years old, he's Albert's fat, FPS playing gamer son, smokes a lot of weed, has anxiety issues and a card for a bad back, very soft, very opinionated, into making racist comments while playing online. Well, that almost exactly fits the description of Michael's son, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, almost exactly. And again, we've seen that artwork that was released of him sitting there playing Xbox, or whatever the GTA version of Xbox is, playing online. That's the same guy. So that's saying that he's a De Silva and he's got a dad, and his dad then would make sense to be Albert.
Yeah.
Now we have reference to another character called Nervous Jerry, who's described as 48, paranoiac, living in the sticks near Simon, completely paranoid and terrified of Simon. Now we know there's a character called Nervous Ron, who lives in the sticks, who is friends with Trevor. Now this again would tie, the Albert to be Michael, Simon to be Trevor. And as Tim pointed out, it's a great theory. Yeah, Michael isn't called Albert, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. They've gone into witness relocation. As a result, they've been forced to change their name. So it would make perfect sense that essentially they've got new identities.
Yeah. I mean, one of the other sort of expanding from that, one of the other things we talked about is how there are subsequent things in some of the trailers that point further towards it. There's a section where I think it's is it in Trevor's trailer where he says to Michael, I've got abandonment issues.
Yeah.
And that would again suggest that as part of this witness protection deal, they've been taken to Los Santos, both of them, but they've been dropped in different parts of the city, the country, in order to separate them, in order to make the risk to them that much smaller. And we see during the course of those 3 character trailers that Trevor and Michael are brought together again, and when they meet again, it's like they haven't met for a long time, because Trevor hugs Michael, gives him a big hug, and Michael, it's obviously the first time they've seen each other in a long time. Now, could it be that they haven't seen each other since they've gone into witness protection?
Yeah, again, they've been forced to stay apart for different reasons. Maybe the FIB have brought them together. We don't know. And again, this theory is, it's hard to prove 100%, but also I don't think it's that easy to disprove if you're looking at the alternative angle. We also talked about in the gameplay trailer, there was footage of Trevor having a tattoo, and someone had picked up that on the tattoo it said Michael, was it? Michael R.I.P. or something?
R.I.P. Michael, yeah.
Now again, it could be a coincidence, it could just be a strange thing. We don't know. Maybe they're not brothers. Perhaps they're related somehow. They're cousins or something. But again, another people have said that theory's nonsense. They don't look the same. Well, again, I'm not going to bring up huge slides of brothers who don't look the same. But there are lots of brothers who don't look the same. And you've got to say, maybe one guy kept his hair and he's just a bit fatter, the other's thinner. They're not entirely dissimilar to me. I can see it.
And the other thing with that tattoo is that what's to say that at the time, if we are to run with this theory, what's to say that at that time that Trevor got that tattoo, he thought Michael was gone for good. He was never going to see Michael, and he was effectively dead to him. So he knows that Michael's alive somewhere, but perhaps he doesn't know where Michael is. And maybe as part of the storyline to GTA 5, maybe Michael's contacts in the FIB eventually put him back in touch with Trevor, and that's how they come to see each other again.
So there we go, a lot of speculation there based from a kernel of evidence from the Rush casting call. A lot of things we've seen, nothing has been seen to definitely disprove it. It's a good leaping point, probably. Should we go on to the theory that links perhaps how they could have known each other in a previous time?
Yeah.
Our prologue theory.
Yeah, so we talked about this last week for the first time. So that was the first time that it really sort of occurred to us that that this might be the case. And really it came off the back of some comments made by GTA Big Daddy Leslie Benzies. Yeah,
Leslie Benzies had said, he'd been talking, I think, to one of the French big sites, and had said that when GTA begins, it will introduce you to a lot of the core gameplay concepts immediately. It will be all action. It will be a lot faster than previous GTAs. So he said, well, what will be fast? What will introduce you to the core gameplay concepts, which are essentially combat? It would be a combat scenario. It would be an action-based scenario. Now, spinning from that further, there's got to be something that brings, Michael and Trevor to where they are in their lives. And, could it be that the game begins with a sort of form of mini heist gone wrong, where we see the two of them work together, or certainly Michael, and we see the point where, he's called in and has to go on the witness relocation. And what it would be brilliant to do is to set it in, for example, we know he's from the East Coast and not from the West. It would be great to set it in, for example, Liberty City, and go what a curveball that would be for the fans to go straight in, starting in Liberty City, almost replaying a mission a bit like Three Leaf Clover, or whatever it is. And just get you in the action, get used to the mechanics, wham bam, start to the game, sets it up, bosh, here we go, GTA 5, 20, 30 minutes in.
And it would also allow them post-credits to, because we're assuming this would become before the main sort of credits, it would allow them to present Los Santos from scratch, their new life in Los Santos. You're seeing it for the first time, you're seeing them several years later, because Rockstar have been keen to point out that these guys have been living in Los Santos for a while now, so they're very settled in their lives, and it would be a great opportunity for them to show that 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line, this is what their lives are like on the other side of America. Dan, what do you make of the theories that a lot of people in our comments thread have talked about, and also got in touch on Twitter about these theories about Michael possibly being maybe Packy from GTA 4, or maybe Packy's mate also called Michael?
Yeah, I think you can construct cases for it, but if I'm honest, I think then it gets slightly convoluted, and certainly whilst to the very hardcore GTA gamer that might mean something, I think it's so niche to the point that it wouldn't be worth seeding around that for the sake of the mainstream GTA gamer. I'm not sure that's the avenue they'd want to pursue. So for me, I think it's interesting, but it's not one of my beliefs.
Okay, anything else to add there, Dan?
Well, one other thing to add is something, again, people have speculated on, is the idea that, in fact, Michael,
of course,
cue spoilers, is Trevor. As in, he's some Fight Club style Tyler Durden alter ego. Now, I haven't been through, in the same way you might watch Fight Club again, armed with the knowledge of the two characters, and maybe then say, oh, it was obvious, you can see the clues, blah, blah, blah. I've not done that forensically with these trailers, but there's a sort of a hypothetical case to be made for the fact that Michael is disillusioned, he's living a sort of trapped, moneyed life with a wife who he hates, he's watching these fantasy movies. There's an idea that he's separated out part of his psyche, and sort of in his mind he's still this character like Trevor.
Yeah.
But for me there's inconsistencies, because Tim and I, when we saw the game running, we literally saw Michael on the ground holding a machine gun shooting men, whilst at the same time Trevor very definitely provided physical support from a different vantage point.
Yeah.
So how would he be in two places at the same time? It doesn't make any sense.
You also wonder what Franklin might have to say about that, if Michael's running around pretending he's two people. I mean, It's difficult. You know, it's like raises all sorts of difficult questions when you're planning a bank job with someone and he's pretending to be two people. I mean, you know, some of the evidence that people have presented is the fact that Trevor also mentions in one of the trailers that he sees his shrink, I think once a week or something like that. You know, and obviously we know Michael sees his shrink once a week. You know, I don't know. I tend to agree with you. I think that it's a really nice theory, and there are actually some areas in the trailers and in the information we've had and seen at Rockstar to kind of back that up. But I think there are also a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'd have problems standing that theory up for definite, so it's not one that I'd be pushing.
Okay, theory 3, Dan. GTA 5 is coming to next gen and PC.
Yeah, we've said this again over 12 to 18 months ago. It always causes a comment war from people who will say, how can you know that? It definitely isn't. People get very uppity about it. And again, recently there's been a petition launched by PC gamers, and it's got 200,000 signatures trying to like lobby Rockstar to bring it out to PC. You know, for me, that's like lobbying the royal family for them to release pictures of the royal baby, because it literally is going to happen.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, I just can't see a way where this game doesn't come out on next gen or doesn't come out on PC. Now, all right, let me talk that through. That's not just some supposition I'm coming up with. To look at history, and if you look at GTA 4, GTA 4 came out on consoles 360 and PS3 in April of that year, and then, you know, subsequently about 9 months later we got the PC version, which came with the enhanced replay editor mode, and then we had the various raft of DLC for the console versions. But I think again that model is very likely to be repeated, as in after launch of the PS3 and 360 versions, which are undoubtedly the lead versions and Rockstar's almost sole focus at this stage. After a window of, let's say, 3 to 6 months, it would be safe for them to say, and by the way, they're coming out to these next generation systems. Because what they can't do now, what would be suicidal to do, is to say, do you know what, maybe don't buy it on PS3 or 360 because we've got an even more high-res amazing version coming out just 6 months down the line. They're not going to do that to sales. This is, you know, at one stage, GTA 4 was the most expensive video game ever made. GTA 5's 3.5 times the size. It's going to be one of the most expensive video games ever made. Rockstar have to recoup their costs, so they have to maximise sales of the current target formats right up front. Now, later down the line, they want to maximise sales further by performing what I think would be a relatively easy port to next-gen systems. Everything we've heard about PS4 and Xbox One is they're essentially PCs in a box. They're incredibly easy to program for. If Rockstar are going to do a PC version anyway, it's an absolute dozy that they do it for the next-gen systems as well. The console holders will want it. It will help shift consoles. Plus, not only that, they've got GTA Online coming out on current gen. GTA Online, if, as we were about to speculate, is more of an MMO-style persistent service with your consistent identities, that's a service. That service won't just be on this platform now. They'll want that service platform for the future. They'll want that running on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I just cannot see a scenario where it doesn't come out on next gen.
And of course, there was the advert that was subsequently pulled. Was it Rockstar Leeds put it up saying they wanted people with PC experience? You know, so I think it's all pointing in that direction.
Yeah, again, feel free to shout at me in the comments and tell me not. The answer to this question will be out there in about a year, and then you can tell me if I'm wise or have been an idiot. Also worth pointing out, Rockstar's fiscal years, I think they ends on like March the 31st of each year. It's whether we see it pre-March 31st 2014 will depend I think on how well GTA 5 performs within this current fiscal year, and if Rockstar hit their targets or exceed them, there will be no pressing need to rush release GTA 5 for PC, Xbox One and PS4 this side of March 31st 2014, because they'd have succeeded with their financials. They probably will push it back to the next financial year, because that is an amazing way of guaranteed sales to start their financial projections for the new financial year and make shareholders very, very happy. It will simply happen because finance dictates it.
Okay, that's pretty unequivocal. Theory 4, Dan, GTA Online will be an MMO-style experience. You mentioned it just now. Talk us through why you think that's the case.
Yeah, again, this comes from a previous show based on a old interview, like literally a 3 or 4 year old interview with ROCKSTAR founder and one of the big creators, Sam Houser, brother of Dan Houser. Sam Houser at the time had expressed his great love for PC MMOs, including things like EverQuest, and essentially said the holy grail of GTA is a persistent, always online Grand Theft Auto universe. He said as well, again, there's obviously problems with that because, you create this chaotic universe where everyone's shooting each other. It'd be very difficult to police, but that has to be our goal. Now, that has clearly been in his mind for a large number of years, and for all sorts of technical reasons, you've got to look at GTA as primarily a console experience, and MMOs are a PC phenomenon. We've got to the stage now where console technology essentially can give you what PCs can do, especially as we look towards next generation. So we're going to get, broader models, we're going to get FTP style models, we're going to get always on style models. It's just going to be the way things are going. So I think that, ROCKSTAR, and again, they've made the clear sign for this by demarking the online mode of GTA 5 as GTA Online, almost like it's a separate entity, like it's something that's going to move forward. And we've seen a teasing glimpse of like 10 seconds of a guy stood in his apartment looking out over, Los Santos, over the city. And you can see, we saw like 20 or whatever it is, different people, guy in a jet flying past, people driving cars. You could see people going about their business, and each person's avatar had like, whatever it was, Rockstar North 18, Rockstar North 17, with a bar denoting, again, I don't know whether it was cash or some sort of status or something. It looks like people have a status of permanent progression that is visible, so you sort of see how valuable that other guy is. I just think Rockstar will want to build you in to a persistent ID. They've already talked about the idea of, in Max Payne, you build crews that carry across from Max Payne to GTA 5. They're all about persistent IDs. This is where the world is now. All people are doing this. You've got Activision launching Destiny, which is the new Halo, which they see as a 10-year online campaign. They've already mapped out 10 years of you playing that game, and you will be building stats and growing attachments to things all the way through. Borderlands does this. Borderlands gives you guns. You fall in love with them. You build them. It's games giving you reasons to live within their world. There's broader economic reasons for that, because games generally are selling less. There's a handful of games that succeed. The games that succeed need to, and excuse the horrible word, monetize you. They need you to be part of that community. They need you to be buying DLC. They need you to want to reinvest in that world. They need your time. They need your attention. Rockstar know this and will be looking to make GTA Online a very significant part of the game. And I dare say will have MMO style elements. I can't see how it won't.
So do you think they've obviously shown with the character selection wheel online is sort of simply runs simultaneously to single player. You can drop in at the drop of the hat, to use a terrible phrase. And when you're in there, you mentioned that other players will be able to see how useful, in inverted commas, you are, because based on your stats, based on your experience and your history, that will presumably play into the whole heist thing online as well, do you think?
Yeah, you'd think so. As in, you'd think you would expect a key online mode to be, let's say, a co-op heist, right, where you recruit a team of real-life human beings. Now, you'd probably recruit around their specialisms, which might be driving ability. It might be the fact he's got a really brilliant gun. He might be really good at stealth. You probably want to recruit a real-life team based around their actual skills they've built up through. Again, and we don't know whether single-player play ties to your online profile or not. We don't know whether you can carry across stuff you've accrued offline to online. That would be quite nice, particularly if you're spending loads of money. And I think the idea of a holistic tie-in would be quite nice. But I just think this will happen.
Okay, just while we're on this subject, Dan, someone got in touch on Twitter, Ghost Recon 1, and asked, in multiplayer, do you think you'll be able to play as characters from the single-player story?
It looks more like you create your own avatar. I think in terms of attachment and being able to carry a character forward, and it also doesn't break the reality of the single player universe. I think they want to see Michael, Franklin, Trevor as fully formed guys who exist, and I think you'll exist outside of that, as other characters in the universe. The wheel shows almost like a question mark, who will this character be? it's going to be the character you create, basically. And Rockstar will want you to feel incredibly attached to this character you create. And again, why do you create attachment? It's because you want the character to carry forward. You want to be able to build their stats and feel all that stuff. It seems to me like you're just creating your own sort of alternative avatar or profile.
Okay, so fifth and final theory, Dan: social media and sharing. How do we think Rockstar will play that out in game?
Yeah, this comes back to a set of theories we've had previously, some of which have already been proved true, because we talked about using the mobile phone to take pictures within the world, and in fact that's been proved to be correct. And only 2 weeks ago, on our exclusive interview with Rockstar North and Imran, who said that you'll be able to take selfies, basically. So you can get your mobile phone and take a picture of yourself in a location with your car. So we know you can do that. Now, what we'd speculated beyond that and further is, well, if you take that picture, that's all well and good, but it needs some context. You upload that photo to Rockstar's, social club. Now, if there's 1 billion photos, or to quote a mad number, on that site, if you go on as an interested viewer, you're just going to scroll through 50 pages of mad things. What about if there's sorting functions like sort by latest uploaded, sort by car type, sort by best rated? So then you think, well, people will be going online and rating other people's photos and or avatar. So again, that leads to the idea of everything you're doing in the game contributing to a sense of social ranking, tying in perhaps to the MMO element as well. Because if you can take pictures of people, could you take videos? Would this tie into the idea of like the PC version launched with taking video footage? And taking it further again, we know that PS4 and Xbox One have inbuilt video editor functions. Given that we expect GTA 5 to come out on next-gen systems, on PS4 you'll always be recording 15 minutes of the footage you've just played. If you're Rockstar, given this sort of emergent, creative, fun world you've got, you'll want to be leveraging the fact that people are creating YouTube-style fun videos of your game. And they're going to ram-pack it with secret locations and things to find and discover and share and all these different things. And again, you will want a degree of social currency, much like YouTube, as in, if you film the best fun video within GTA 5, you will earn either actual kudos on the real YouTube, depending how Rockstar do it, or you will earn like a virtual kudos within Rockstar's version of YouTube or their social networks. And I'd have thought, again, this would feed back into the idea of reputation or something tying in with MMO. It just, again, all seems like it's certainly the way I would approach it, looking at this way in, and I think I'd be surprised if Rockstar weren't thinking a similar way. Whether they can logistically make it happen right away, I don't know, but certainly towards the next gen systems, I'd be very surprised.
Okay, a question from a reader sort of tied into this. NAYLOR BIBBY got in touch on Twitter and said, do you think Rockstar will release an app for smartphones, so when you use your phone in game you can also see, it sort of syncs up with an app on your actual phone in real life?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a very popular trend. It's something that Ubisoft's Watch Dogs is doing. I was talking to the developers of Pro Evolution Soccer just the other day. We've got exactly the same ideas with their My Pairs app. This is going to be a fundamental feature of next gen. And yeah, I think it's likely that Rockstar might release some kind of like branded reputation app or some sort of way to, whether it's to perform rudimentary customization of character or just to view your profile or something, I think, tied in with your online identity and avatar. That, I repeat, that is speculation on my part, but I think it would definitely be something Rockstar would be looking at, because that's the way the world is moving.
Okay, so there's our top 5 theories. Now we're just going to look at a few of your questions that have turned up this week. Thank you to everyone who gets in touch and asks questions. We get so many of them that we can only ask a few, unfortunately. But thank you anyway for your efforts. EXTREMISANTARES on Twitter, Dan, says, you've never mentioned the subway system in Los Santos. We know there is a rail system on the map, but what do you think about a subway?
I believe we asked, when we went to see the GTA in-game demo we saw, we asked a Rockstar rep about this, and I don't know what we can say, but I think even they were cautious about answering it, as I remember.
I don't think they fully committed to a yes or a no, but I think that they obviously, I mean, let's look at the facts here. Los Angeles has a transit system, a subway system, and we know that there is a working railway system within Los Santos. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they might include a subway system of some description. Quite to what extent that is, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, my take, Dan, would be that yes, they probably will have a subway system, but I don't go expecting like the London Underground with 250 stations.
I think it would be limited either in a way that you'd sort of be funneled through almost like a holding pattern station, and then when you get in the carriage, it's sort of you appear at the next one, like it's like an invisible quick move between different locations, or they'll present the Underground but only as part of as a closed loop mission, so you don't actually use the Underground all the time, but it is visible in a particular mission and or heist. That's my feeling about the way they'd approach it, given the, you know, not only create the overground world that's huge and the oceans, but then to create a fully mapped and tracked underground rail network with lots of boring procedural tunnels. I just don't know if that's what they'd want to do. So my feeling is they'll have some sort of clipped version of it.
Okay, Morgan Edwards on YouTube says, I want to know about hospitals. If Trevor got killed, I think he means like injured, severely injured, would he end up in hospital, and could Michael conceivably go and visit him? Now, they did talk to us about this, I think, or did they talk to us, or was it in an interview I read? Anyway, it's all sort of blurred into one, but they have talked about this and said that, you know, the other characters can get so badly injured that they might end up in hospital.
They say characters wouldn't die, but you can almost insinuating you can go out of your way to hospitalise another character, almost like a humorous side function.
That's pretty close to the quote that they gave. Yeah.
So maybe so. It could be that, you know, you perhaps if you accidentally, maybe even during a mission, or you accidentally injure one of your friends, when you swap back into that character, you're visiting the other guy at hospital. Could be one of those fun character incidental tap-ins.
Yeah. And finally, Dan, the last question has come from literally hundreds of people who want to know, will GTA 5 have cheats?
I don't know it will have cheats, but I'm going to say with 99% certainty, yes, it will have cheats. They've always had cheats, and because one of the fundamental appeals of GTA is essentially messing around and causing a ruckus. Cheats are your ultimate shortcut. So if you just want to go in, the game's been out for 6 months, Rockstar have got nothing to lose anymore. They release a big series of cheat codes, then you can just unleash all holy hell by spawning in tanks, helicopters, weapons, jetpacks, etc, etc, etc. I would expect fully that to be the case again.
Okay, that's this week's show. Thank you for listening. Thank you to everyone who continues to subscribe and listen to us every week, and to those who get in touch, and to those who follow us on Twitter. Our audience is growing, and we really appreciate you coming along for the ride. Dan, you wanted to add something?
A couple of things. One is, please, you know, if you listen to the show and you love it, please subscribe. Again, I don't want to sound pleady, but trust me, it will be worth it. Also, Tim and I are going on holiday. And we can't say where we're going on holiday, but it's worth following us on @GTAV0clock.
And that's it, Dan. That's as much as we can say. Thank you for listening this week. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.